told a little bit about the Vajrasattva practices. Vajrasattva practice is very, very important. All the Vajrayana teachings, every Vajrayana teaching, from the Kriya Tantra and all the way to the Dzogchen Tantra, Vajrasattva practice is very important. Therefore, also is in the Mundo practices. And generally, in this, there's many reasons to practice with Vajrasattvas. But one of the principal reasons of the practice for the beginning practitioners, and such as many of us, and as well as also those who are in a path already, in the path, the practicing Vajrasattva is very important. It will re-strengthen our joy, devotion, it cleansing all the negativities and obscurations, obstacles. It will cleanse and purify. And that is what teaching says. It's so special. Of course, generally we do a lot of what's called. There's a lot of purification practices. That is in the Sutra teaching too. Vinaya teaching too. Vinaya teaching do purification practice every 15 days. They gathered monks and nuns together do the purification practices. Those are known as Sobyung practices. They do. And then in Vajra or Mahayana teaching, they do also purification practices. There's many purification practices, particularly related with the 35 Buddhas. 35 Buddhas, they do practices, and as well as other purifications. And then Vajrayana teaching, then the most powerful, renowned practices, purification practices, is through the Vajrasattva practices. Generally, so that when we practice the Vajrasattva practices, and always in the teaching said, it will purify all the obscurations, negativities, and obstacles. And those obscurations, of course, there's many different ways to put this. I mean, this is not just I'm talking about, but many of these great masters, Buddha taught many different ways to understand, highlight that, so that we can not take the mistake. We cannot relate that mistake overpowered us, and therefore there is many different categories to highlight those. And those mistakes, generally there is 4 obscurations in one way, and 2 obscurations or 4 obscurations. We told the 4 obscurations many times in the teaching mentioned, particularly when we're practicing purification. Those are known as then our listed first 4, and then go a little bit over this 4. First is known as Karmic obscurations. Karma obscuration by the karma. And the second obscuration is emotion obscurations. And the third obscuration is knowledge obscurations. And the fourth obscuration is habitual obscurations. Those are the 4 obscurations. What is karma obscurations? If I translate the karma obscuration as karma as action. Obscuration that comes with action. Action. These action, generally, we can perform two ways we can do the mistakes, obscurations. One is known as, according in the Buddha's teaching, those natural obscurations. Natural obscurations and constructed obscurations. Natural obscuration is in the samsara, such as killing, is natural obscurations. Killing or taking lives of others is natural obscurations. Stealing, taking belongings for others is natural obscurations. And the deceiving is natural obscuration. There's many like that. Many, those are known as natural obscurations, or in the Tibet, Rangi is natural. It's common sense. I mean, one way, it's common sense obscurations. That means it is not good. Good to anyone, any standard, whether you are believing or not believing, any standard is natural obscuration or common obscurations or natural obscuration, common sense obscuration. And there is another obscuration known as constructed obscurations or mad guidelines, such as Buddha's teaching in a nun or monastic or the Vinaya rules. There's over 250 rules. Many of those are constructed, trying to strengthen our mindfulness, our alertness, so that we are not going to run to the old habit pattern and carry it with that. If we do some mistakes with that, if we do those are known as constructed negativities. Constructed. Such as, then, there's many, for example, such as, of course, now is commonly accepted in Tibetan Buddhism, is nothing kind of like unusual that. But however, for example, in the Buddha's teaching, taking food in the afternoon, both ordained monks and nuns, taking food in the afternoon is not correct. Correct. And this is, again, is not that the obscuration or negativity in a way, general common sense level is not obscuration. It's not that negativities. But however, it is obscuration in the sense of the Buddha teaching or the rules in the guidelines. It is obscurations. And there's many other like that. Many like that. Those are known as the, like constructed obscurations. And then, for example, even each country has different laws. Many of those laws, not necessarily is common sense negativities, but they created that to protect. It has some reasons. And for example, in some case, there is like speed limit 55. And in some case, there is if you go over that in that zone, then we are doing mistakes. And police will give us the ticket, I think, speed ticket. And in some area, there is a 65. And then again, if you go over that, is wrong. And then some areas 75. That is not the naturally common sense negativity, but is constructed. That's what called. In the Buddha teaching, known as natural obscurations and Ragi Kanamato and Jepa Kanamato. Jepa means constructed something. So anyway, whatever we do, if we stay in that frame, whatever we do, we are breaking the rules. Breaking the rules. And we are creating the negativities and obscurations. That is known as obscurations. Because the Buddha teaching generally all guidelines to really strengthen our joy, devotion, bodhicitta, appreciation, respect, and common sense to just stay with the harmony and peaceful to everyone. That is what really it is. On Vajrayana teaching, Mahayana teaching, Hinayana teaching, all that, and then bring up the beauty and the brilliant quality of our nature, our soul. That. So whatever we do, anything mistake we did, that mistake is known as then the karmic obscuration. I translate the karma obscurations. Leje dapa into it. Leje dapa, that is the obscuration. And the second obscuration is the root of the karmic obscurations. That is, I translated emotion obscurations. Emotion obscuration is the fundamental cause and root performing the action obscurations. These emotion obscurations, then, many of you all know, those are known as 5 poisons. And those are the ignorance. If we put everything as poison, Buddha used the metaphor to explaining it is a density quality, density like effect. Therefore, Buddha used the metaphor poison. So ignorance is poison. Poison ignorance. Attachment poison, or poison of the attachment. Poison of the anger. Poison of the arrogance. And poison of the jealous. Those are 5 poisons. Above that, also there is another poisons known as doubt. Is another one. Poison of the doubt. And the poison of many times also some different belief, wrong belief. This is also poison. Poison. What is effect? It affecting the peace and the joy and happiness of ours, or one's own self, and all the beings. Therefore, it is poison, what Buddha used. Ignorance is the fundamental foundation of all the poison that arise. This is what also in Buddha teaching, the cause of suffering truth. Suffering truth comes from this emotional obscurations. All that. So it is also, ignorance is the cause of every emotions. From that started. Ignorance is like dull. Ignorance is very dark. Ignorance is blurred. Ignorance is behind the scene of every activities that we do. In this, with 6 persons or 5 persons. It's like darkness. Darkness. And from that ignorance, then second, mostly dead state is attachment. Attachment arises from that. And from that attachment, then anger comes. Anger and all that, generally in the teaching said, is in all the other rest emotions, almost a kind of defensive for the attachment. Defensive or the protection of the attachment. Protection of the ego clingings. In a way, ego clinging is the boss, they are the instrumental. They are the hiding place of the egos. Ego clingings. And ego clinging is attachment, it's a grasp. From there, then the anger bursts out. If something is not agreeing with the attachment, with the ego, then it is known as the anger. And something is not attached with or agree with again ego, and then jealousy arises. Jealousy is the combination of the teaching always said, the combination of the attachment and anger united together. Feeling that you're going to lose something, or there's something that is coming up, going to prevent of our ego activities. And that is the jealousness that is coming up. And then if we have some fulfillment or some successful, some degree of that, then the arrogance comes. Arrogance comes is something kind of almost like show the superiority of yourself to the among the groups, among the others. You feel some kind of sense of the superior, something strong or something important. That is the arrogance. Arrogance generally in the teaching mentioned there is 7 kinds of arrogance that can have. Arrogance can be, and those are I think quite a few times K.T. Padeshwariji mentioned, and I will list again so you will know that. And first is known as small arrogance. First is small arrogance. First is just arrogance. First is arrogance. And the second is small arrogance. And the third is big arrogance. And the fourth is arrogance, more arrogant from the arrogance. More arrogance from the arrogance. And then fifth is some kind of arrogance that fills yourself strong. Or I am that arrogance. And then sixth is known as arrogant of the blind arrogance. Blind arrogance, or I translate that, blind arrogance. The seventh is wrong arrogance, or very wrong arrogance. So those are the 7 arrogance. But I will go a little bit that. For force of arrogance is generally, this always, when arrogance comes, you always have some comparators. And therefore, force of arrogance is something that lower than yourself, kind of project to that individuals and feel, I'm little better than them. Or I am someone that lower than you, or something equal to you, and we start thinking, I'm little better, or I'm equal with these guys. And when you have that attitude, or that kind of known as then, the arrogance, just simple arrogance. And then second arrogance is and small arrogance. Small arrogance is something that projecting to your equal person similar standard, but you start thinking that even though this person is good, but I'm better, I'm quite good. Having that attitude in the mind, and that is, that kind of the arrogance. That is the second arrogance, small arrogance. And third arrogance is now with the equal individuals to seeing that, and we start thinking, I am much better than this. I'm great. Having that attitude is known as big arrogance. And then again, compare it with the similar equal person, but same time projecting higher than more educated than you. More educated, more kind of in a way, more better person, then we start thinking, oh, this is good. That person is quite good, but I'm much better than him or her. Having that attitude, that kind of attitude is known as then arrogance of arrogance. That. And then the fifth arrogance is, then this is generally every sentient being. We all have this arrogance. In the teaching say, this is ego clinging. It's just, I am this. And that for that reason, and again, even in Westerns, in English, you put always capitals. Whenever we mention I is capital. That tells among all the consonants in the vowels, I standing with God. I and God together with the capital letters. That's how it is. That is distinctly in the teaching said, I am that. That's it. That tells. That is not. And the sixth arrogance is believing arrogance. With believing arrogance is some individually have the kind of idea that they are someone. There's no reason that, but however that those individually believes, truly convinced themselves that they are someone, or someone they appreciate, they feel they are that, I am that, or I have that realization. I am the first blooming person, I am the great yogi, I am the great things. That could be with the spiritually kind of connected, that could be worldly connected. They're completely kind of convinced, they believe, they're not just lying, making up that, but themselves believe that, and trying to act with that. This is known as then, in Buddha teaching, it is something blind arrogance. And that happened many times also. I don't know, you heard that too. But many times, we got emails, or I got, or when we are together, we got emails, letters, claiming many people say they're materials. I'm material. The future Buddha, upcoming Buddhas, materials. They started that I'm the material, this and that, and I leave these places. And the reason also we got one email, I think Lauren got one email, said that I'm Pema Samba. Pema Samba is well and good health, and he's somewhere. Really said, please tell that to everyone. I believe Pema Samba is well and good health. But she got email. I think maybe about you all got that.
He works in a bicycle shop.
He works in a bicycle shop. In bicycle shop and tell to everyone, Pema Samba is well. It's true. This is the one. And then before I think maybe Master told, this is the time of his own Dongyal. And there's one man really came. And I was that time in 1981 or 82, whatever around that time. And his own Dongyal was in New York City. And I went out and even I come back. There's one Khenpo that time. He went back to Tibet. He's a disciple of of his own Dongyal Rinpoche he was, or he is. And so when I come back, he started joking. There's also another his own disciple who travels quite a lot in the West too. His name is Lama Rinpoche. And Khenpo's name, Khenpo Thupti. He said, Khenpo Thupti started joking to me. Lama Rinpoche is so powerful, even he subdued Dorje Tolu. Dorje Tolu, many of you know, right? Dorje Tolu is at the emanation of Mipham. So Lama Rinpoche is so powerful that even he subdued Dorje Tolu, he said. So I thought, what it means we're talking that so what happened is, because at that time, the way his own Dongyal is has five floor. We are in the fifth floor. We all stay in the fifth floor. So any visitor comes, they must come always up there. So let us know, and then we will go arrange and then take if they have the appointment, go to see his owners. That's what we do. So Khenpo said, so Lama Rinpoche said that in the one afternoon, somebody is knocking the door. The door. He said, who's this? They said, Dorje Tolu. Who's this? They said, Dorje Tolu. Dorje Tolu. So it's a Dorje Tolu. So then when they opened it, one hippie man, and the hippie man, he said, I'm Dorje Tolu. And his own Dongyal Rinpoche is a regent of Mipham. Therefore, I like to be recognized and glorified, or honored that. He really liked to have that. I'm Dorje Tolu. So could you make an appointment to that? So he got like upset and he maybe yelled something. So then I think he went, wait. So next time, I think it's one other time, then he came and I was translator, and so he came and he said that, again, he said he's Dorje Tolu. He said, what?
To His Holiness.
To His Holiness. He said, in the former life, he was Hey Vajra, he said. It's really true, he said. Former life, he was Hey Vajra, but this time I'm Dorje Tolu, and I like to be, you please help or honor or acknowledge me that. And then His Holiness answer was,
He asked for a letter.
Yeah, letter or something. And so His Holiness answered that if you're Dorje Tolu, I don't have to do anything. So I don't need to do anything. That's what it means.
If you're not, you don't need one.
Yeah, if you're not, you don't need some. That's what really he said. Really, he said that. And then he said, I'm yogi, I'm hungry. If you have some food to give me, he said. And then His own told me that, of course, lunch is finished already, but then he said to look something food. So I went to the kitchen and I bought some fruit and all that I gave. So this is really true. I think maybe they believe that. They believe this. I saw him when His own Dongyal passed away. I went to France in the Dodon when he passed away. I saw him in the Dodon. He is there too. So that way. But anyway, this is the story of the blind, the arrogance. Arrogance, and then during the Buddha time, there is also one known as Kashyapa with long hair. It's not Mahakashyapa, there's another Kashyapa known as long hair. Also really is a renowned one. He has many students too, but he always believed, it's not that he's pretending that, but he believed he is something high realization beings, and he said that, he acted that, and he told that to the student. He's not lying, he's not saying, but he believed that. So this is known as Mompang Ngajak, or the blind arrogance. And then the seventh arrogance is wrong arrogance. There is a certain people have the arrogance that kind of like do the negative activities. People start saying, I can do that. I'm expert to kill, to do something. Kind of like, it's really a very destruction. It's not beneficial, but certain people have the strong arrogance, strong belief believe that they can do that. That maybe they do too, but really arrogance, they do. Those are known as 7 types of arrogance. Whatever the arrogance you have, the quality of arrogance is, of course, then what we lost. We lost the humble and respect. Respect and appreciation is undermined. At the same time, because of that, we won't grow ourselves. We won't grow, we won't develop. In the teaching, often you say that arrogance is like iron bowl, iron completely solid bowl that won't hold any water. Water, it just goes out because we won't grow, we won't learn, we won't develop. At the same time, then respect and appreciations is become very minimal, and that is what the arrogance is.